Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm very excited because I just got this package from acmgear.com which contained this Tercel M712, which is a replica of the C96, one of my favorite pistols of all times. It's one of the most famous, most original handguns that has ever been produced. And for those of you who don't know it by its name, for those of you who don't know what a Mauser C96 Broomhandle pistol is, as soon as I take it out of the box, I'm sure 100% of you will recognize it because you've seen it in uncountable movies, comic books, TV series, pretty much any adventure movie like Indiana Jones, any comic that is set in the early to mid 20th century, like Corto Maltese, for example, will feature one of these Mauser C96 or one of its uncountable versions, because this gun was licensed to about 20 countries. A lot of other countries or companies made it without a license. For example, the Spanish company Astra made a full auto version, which didn't have a license for it. And well, let's get to it. In the box you will find neatly covered or protected in foam, first of all, a manual with well, explaining all the functions on the gun, how to operate it, and a diagram, an explosion diagram. However, I don't recommend using this unless it's absolutely necessary, unless this gun after prolonged use breaks on you. But other than that, this gun works so well out of the box, and follow the phrase, if it's not broken, why fix it? So I would leave this gun alone. It shoots 325 FPS, has very good range, a great hop up once you dial it in to its best point, and yeah, great gas efficiency. There's no cloud at all, even after prolongated. I mean, quick succession semi-auto shots. So, don't mess with it. So, under the foam, we will find the gun itself, a small plastic bag containing a few spare O-rings, and an Allen key. This gun has an adjustable hop-up, and it's dialed or set with this Allen key. Some cheap BBs, and finally, the gun. As I told you, you know this gun. You've seen it in lots of World War II and adventure movies, and it's just so original, so different from anything else that was built back then in 1895. That was the first production year, and now that, I mean, everyone, even those who don't know anything about guns, will recognize this. The gun is full metal. Everything on it is metal except for obviously a few internal parts like the nozzle and the grips. The grips look super realistic. I was about to order a set of real wood grips from eBay. They have them for cheap there, but they're so well made that I felt that it wasn't necessary, because they look real to me. Even when touching them, there's no point in spending money on some real wood grips. Everything else in this gun is metal, and it's massive. I mean, apart from a full metal Desert Eagle, this is probably the most heavy gun, the heaviest handgun I have ever had in airsoft. Definitely, it's very compact, and everything in it is very well put together. If I take out the magazine and hold this ring that is supposed to attach the lanyard to, I move this gun, and you hear almost no sound, because everything is so well put together. The barrel is removable in case you want to substitute it for a silencer. Obviously not very orthodox, but if you didn't know, Han Solo's laser blaster in the Star Wars trilogy, well, it was based around a Mauser C96. This is no bullshit. They took an old C96, or maybe a Chinese copy or whatever, took out the box mag, because the first models didn't have this long mag. It was fed via a stripper clip 10 rounds. That's why it was so popular back then, because the British, for example, their officer's revolver only had 6 rounds, and this one had 4 more rounds. It was semi-automatic, and until 1935, it was the fastest factory bullet around for pistols, at least. Very, very, very powerful back then, and even today. It was comparable almost to the 357 round. So many people got this. For example, Winston Churchill, when he was a lieutenant in the British Army, before he was shipped to Sudan or the Boer Wars, I can't remember which were first. He got himself one of these. By the way, you may have seen this gun with a buttstock. There is a Japanese company, I believe it's called, that CAW, that makes a buttstock that also works as a holster. It's empty on the inside, so you can store the gun inside, or you can take it out and you can turn it around and fit it here in this slot, and well, then you have yourself a pistol carbine. And this actually looks a lot more like a carbine than it does look like a pistol. For example, it has no moving slide. The upper looks a lot more like an M1 carbine or a Garand, and it doesn't have a moving barrel either. It's not like the Luger, but it has this moving bolt. It's charged by pulling on this handle here, which also sets the hammer directly. And as you can see, it opens the chamber right here, and now you will be able to see the magazine and the BBs. And also, one very cool thing about this gun is the very short trigger pull. As you can see, you only have to pull it like 1 centimeter for it to shoot. Like, well, actually less than a centimeter. It's like 4 or 5 millimeters, which makes a very good gun for quick succession shots. Also, because it doesn't have a moving slide, it only moves a few internal parts. The blowback action is very fast, very quick, so you will be able to shoot 1 round after the other in a very, very short time. Double taps is no problem for this gun. It's very gas efficient. I haven't had any cooldown issues, although it's quite cold now. It's 18th February, I believe. And the magazine, it's massive too. As you can see, full metal. Also, it takes green gas, no problem. The feeding lips are a bit hard in the beginning, so you might wanna load it up a few times, so they loosen up a bit, and it's easier to load it. One thing that is very cool here, that the Chinese manufacturers usually cut corners around, is this follower here. This part that pushes on the BBs is made of a solid piece of metal, so you can let it go, no problem, as many times as you want. It won't break like the plastic ones do. One thing you also have to take care of is to insert it into the gun properly. You have to push a bit hard in the beginning until the mag release button gets a bit softer, I guess. Or what you can do is push the actual button until the magazine is all the way up, and then let go of it. Just make sure that at least in the beginning, the magazine is really safely inserted into the gun. It won't fall out when you're in the middle of a game and lose it. Plus, I mean, they're not expensive, but yeah, why lose a magazine just because you didn't properly insert it? Another thing that reminds you of a carbine instead of a gun, apart from the obvious that the magazine is in front of the grip and in front of the handle instead of in the handle and the long sides. The chamber I just showed you, and these adjustable sights. These sights are adjustable, you can't see it, but for up to 1,000 meters. I mean, back then, seriously, this was the longest range pistol that there was until the mid 1930s. And I don't know if you can see these. It's adjustable like this, and the sights look a lot like AK sights nowadays, and it's very cool. This gun has a pretty long barrel and a very good hop-up chamber. As long as you dial it in correctly and use good quality BBs, you will be able to have very long shots, 35-40 meters, with good accuracy. So these sights actually can be used. If you're a good shot, you will immediately learn to use them and get very good kills, very long-ranged kills with this gun if you handle it properly. And even if you don't, it's a very cool thing to have these adjustable sights for up to 8,000 meters on a pistol. There's a on the real ones, there's a full auto version. This is not full auto, so this style doesn't work. You have the safety here. As you can see, it's a pretty big piece, so well, yeah, you don't miss it. And well, I don't think there's anything else to say apart from the finish. The finish is something I like a lot, and it's not this dark, muddy, flat black that you usually see on Chinese guns, because it wouldn't be too realistic. I mean, this is a gun that was they started to produce in the 1890s, and they didn't have the same finishes that we have today. They didn't paint their guns for one, so it has more like an anthracite dark gray finish, which makes it a lot more realistic. And it's also a good platform to weather it, to make it look older using well, you know, some sandpaper or some tools to beat it up a little and give it a used realistic look. So all there's left to do is show you how it shoots. Well, you load up the mag with gas and BBs. You insert the mag, make sure it stays in, and you pull on these handles here one time all the way to the back and just let go. As you can see there's a BB, the first BB in the magazine. It's more like an M1 Garand than a pistol, and then you let go of this handle and bam, it slams the first BB into the barrel. Because it doesn't have a full slide, the blowback is not as strong as on, let's say, 1911, for example, full metal 1911. But the good thing about this is that the blowback is going to be a lot quicker, a lot snappier, and it's very, very fun to shoot. It also makes a lot of noise because of all the metal that there's on this gun. So let me just direct you to the commentaries or the description of this video for a link to acmgear.com, where you will find this gun, and say goodbye to you with a few shots on this Tercel C96, no, the M712. Very, very cool gun. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye, guys.